All right, guys, so in this part, we are going to be writing our final draft and reviewing our final draft. And this is a two-part video. In the first part, we're going to talk about what we need to do before we write our final draft. And the second part, we're going to be looking at my final draft to see how I have met all of those points on the final draft checklist. So let's get started with writing our final draft. So here is our final draft checklist. This is all of the different points that we have been working on so far in our online learning lessons. So I want you to take a minute, pause the video, go through the checklist, and make sure you understand all the things that us teachers are going to be looking for in your final draft. Okay, so hopefully those all make sense to you. Everything there is clear. If not, I would advise you to go back starting in week 9 and review those lessons about thesis statements or body paragraphs, relevant supporting ideas, opinion language, if clauses. If you have any questions about that before you start your final draft, maybe go and review those. All right, so then what you're going to do is you want to look at your first draft, right? Here's my first draft with all of my changes and revisions that I've been working on since week 9, right? And the first thing I want to do is I want to look at this draft and remember all those changes that I made, where I added some sentences, where I changed and made those if clauses correct, where I added some supporting details, where you can't really see it back here, but where I changed some of in my opinion, all of that. So I want to go back and remember all of those changes. I also want to keep that final draft checklist in front of me, and I want to review any feedback from my teacher. So maybe your teacher told you to look at your introduction or to revise your thesis statement, for example. Maybe your teacher told you to look at your topic sentences, right? Go back and review that feedback from your teacher, okay? And so then with all of that in my mind, my first draft in front of me, I'm going to write my final draft. And so here is my final draft, okay? And now I'm going to use this checklist to make sure my final draft is perfect, okay? So in the next video, I'm going to be going through each of these points and showing you how I have met that checklist point in my final draft. But one thing I want you to remember, don't write on your final draft. Everything I'm doing in the video is virtual. It's not on the piece of paper. You want to make sure that final draft that goes to your teacher is clean, not full of highlights or circles or underlines or anything like that. Okay, this is just for example for you. If you do find a mistake when you're going through your final draft, you need to write it again. Okay, so in the next video, we're going to be going through that checklist point by point to show you how I have written a really nice final draft. All right, so come back for that and we'll